Josh Berry continues to impress because he finished third at New Hampshire. That's 4 consecutive top 10 finishes, something the Wood Brothers Racing hasn't done since Morgan Shepherd in 1994. He still has a job to do. He was announced as being replaced in the number 21 back in June. Jesse Love is going to be taking that seat in 2027. And in 2 months since that announcement, Josh Berry has had a resurgence in his career. It's remarkable, truly. He's gone from 7th at Indianapolis, 4th at Iowa, 8th at Richmond, and now 3rd at New Hampshire, while confirming he still has no offers in Cup. He has no offers in O'Reilly Series. Hell, he has no offers in trucks. And if this is a job interview, he has been acing it. Asked what he'd say to teams still questioning whether he belongs at this level, his answer was 4 words. And then he said the thing everybody in the sport knows and almost nobody says with a microphone in front of them. But the quotes aren't the story. The way he drove the race is the story. Now, coming out of New Hampshire, which was won by a Ford and Ryan Blaney, dominated by Fords, he sent a clear and blunt message. He said, you just watch the races. I don't know what else to tell you. I've been pretty honest about my feelings with how this stuff works. It boils down to finding someone that believes in me that I can do this. Unfortunately, most of the time it comes down to how much money you have to find opportunities. Hopefully, something is out there for me. Now, the middle sentence there is worth sitting on. A driver in a contract year going on a public platform on the record saying that the seats are allocated by funding rather than performance is not necessarily new information. We've known that for a while. It's not a controversial statement inside the garage because everyone knows it, same as the fan base. But drivers looking for work genuinely don't say that out loud because people you're describing are the people you need to be able to hire you. And he said it anyway. And that tells you something about where his patience is. He's over it. Now, the race at New Hampshire backed up his feelings. This was the most aggressive version of Josh Berry anyone has ever seen. He snapped back at his crew chief over the radio several times. He put the bumper to Denny Hamlin, to Bubba Wallace, and others over the course of the afternoon because it was a one-lane racetrack. I did not like this race. And that's usually not how he races. And he knows it because he stated, I don't know, I've said this the last few weeks, I'm not doing anything differently. I mean, maybe I was a little more rougher today than normal. I don't like it. I don't necessarily like racing like that. But I mean, these guys know what I'm up against right now. And I think most of them have a lot of respect for me. So they understand. That's a driver apologizing in advance and after for explaining why he's so sorry. And then comes the honest breakdown. He said, it's not something knocking everyone out of the way as soon as you get to them is not something that's sustainable over the course of a Cup season. But I think in this scenario, it's just fighting for everything you can. And he's telling you that he can't do this every week. He doesn't want to do it every week. And that right now the calculation is different there than it may be next year. And you have to look at the way that race played out. I know Ryan Blaney came out after the race saying, hey, don't change the racetrack, don't patch it over, don't repave it like they're going to do to Iowa. Anytime you repave a racetrack, it just crushes its performance and its raceability for the next several years. New Hampshire has never been the most exciting race in the world. This wasn't either. What made it interesting for the first half was the whole wet tire situation, the rain, adapting to that. But I thought the last half of the race sucked. They got out front. They couldn't pass. The only way you could pass is basically door slam someone every single time in a corner and just brush them up the track. So I wasn't a huge fan of New Hampshire. But Ryan Blaney was, obviously Josh Berry was, and what he insists hasn't changed. The most interesting thing about the 4-race streak that Berry is on is his own explanation for it. And it's the least dramatic one of them all. He said, I'm not doing anything different. I'm not preparing any different. I'm not studying any different. I'm doing the same things I've always done. And we've just had better cars and honestly, better luck. And it feels nice to capitalize on it. I have 4 top 10s in a row. Really, it would have been 5 if it wasn't for North Wilkesboro. Now, this comes down to Josh Berry refusing to claim that he found another gear, which is interesting, especially when you're a guy in a contract year. And if you think about it, it is one of the stronger versions of his argument. He's not saying that he's gotten better after being told he wasn't good enough. He's saying that he's always been this good, except the equipment has improved and his luck has turned around and the results have followed immediately, right? That's much harder for an owner to say and dismiss them than, hey, look, I just raised my level. Now, that's the part that makes it a little uncomfortable. Here's the problem underneath everything, and there's really no good way around it. Barry's biggest public advocate has said there is no space in this Cup garage, no opening and no team, still undecided about its plans. Barry himself has confirmed that a team recently had a conversation with him, had a meeting with him, and they go, look, if you want to come and race for us, you got to give us $3 million in sponsorship to race next season. So, yes, are you a good race car driver? Yes. Have you gotten, 4 straight top 10s? Absolutely. But dude, you got to bring sponsorship in order to run. It is pay to play. And right now, Josh Berry has that problem, right? That is a massive issue. So Josh Berry has done everything available to a driver in his position right now, 4 straight top 10s and equipment that finally is cooperating, a streak of the Wood brothers that has not been able to do over 30 years, and a level of aggression that he openly admits isn't who he is, because there may not be another chance to have another opportunity anywhere else. Just watch the races. It's a great answer. And it's also probably not one that's going to be enough, because the thing standing between him and a seat was never whether people could see it, right? They always thought he was a good race car driver. Is he a Cup race contending guy week in, week out? Can he bring sponsorship? Those are 2 questions. And so, yes, the fact that he's running in better equipment and that Ford has picked up, you would think would help his chances. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are looking at the long-term play of a Josh Berry. They're not looking at hey, he's done this the last 4 weeks. What has he done the last few years that he's been in Cup, whether it was Stewart-Haas and that absolute dumpster fire? Do you remember Tony Stewart coming out there saying that he's the savior of the organization? Like, he didn't do anything at Stewart-Haas, and granted, they went out of business, but that's still not a good look. He hasn't really done anything at the Wood brothers. I know it's the Wood brothers. It's where careers go to die. I understand that. But he may be a victim of that, right? Just because you won at Las Vegas doesn't mean that, all these teams are going to be clamoring to come and sign you. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles in the Cup Series. So I'm not surprised no one is coming along to sign him in Cup. I am surprised that he has no interest in O'Reilly's or trucks, but I think that'll change as the season goes on.